Kolkata, Odisha and Chhattisgarh. Mr. Ramnath Subramaniam, CEO, TVS ILP. Mr. Vijay Sharma, CEO from JSL. Mr. Nitin Jain, MD, Vesuvius India Limited. Mr. Mahendra Gupta, Chairman and Managing Director from Gupta Power Infrastructure Limited. Shri Sridhar Patra, CMD of NALCO. Ladies and gentlemen, can I request you to join me in extending a very warm and hearty welcome to all the industry stalwarts who are present here with us for this session. I'd like to invite Mr. Kalyan Mahanti, ED of Epicol, to also join us on stage. As you're aware that under the visionary leadership and pro-industry approach of Honorable Chief Minister Shri Naveen Patnaik, Odisha is becoming a major industrial hub in India and making Odisha the metal and metal downstream manufacturing hub. And it is also a great priority for the government. The state has eminent presence of all the major players in the sector, and hence the government is now looking to attract the partners, providers, suppliers and vendors of the mother plants already established within the state. Lakhs of crores are being investment to manufacture steel and aluminium, and these are transported to states like Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, Punjab to manufacture the finished goods. And these goods are supplied back to Eastern India. The state is now well placed to house these downstream units and provide a platform to serve large markets in the region. And also most of the mother plants in the state now have the ancillaries and suppliers based in different Indian states and abroad. Ladies and gentlemen, the government also appeals all the industry leaders in this sector to bring their partners and enable them to set up in Odisha. So with these words, we will now begin our experience sharing by the industry leaders who are present here with us. So firstly, I would like to invite Mr. Kailash Pandey and request him to share his thoughts with us.
So dignitaries on the dais, dignitaries of the dais, press and media personnel, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to all of you. I'm Kailash Pandey from Hindalco. I'm responsible for the plant's operation of Samalpur units of Hindalco. I am here to present you the vision for Aluminium Ancillaries 2030. I have one presentation. Can you put that presentation? Yeah. Thank you very much. So you all know that Hindalco is a leading global industry player. We have global operations across 10 countries, and in India, we have upstream and downstream plants. Our primary metal capacity is 1.3 million ton, and we are one of the purest metal producer in the world. Our downstream capacity is 350 KT. As we all know that per capita consumption of aluminum is very low compared to the rest of the world in India. In India, the per capita consumption of aluminum is only 2.5 kg per person. And if we talk about China, the per capita consumption of China is 24 kg per person. So there is a huge scope of growth of aluminum in India. And Hindalco has decided to increase the downstream capacity from 135 KT to 475 KT, and the project is under execution. I am happy to share that these expansions are coming in our Odisha plant, Lapanga and Hirakud. One important attribute for downstream manufacturing is the technical capability to produce quality metal. Novelis, which is the part of Hindalco, has the expertise in rolling and recycling. And we are taking the support of Novelis to build the capability, our capability of Indian units. Now I will tell you about the Odisha plant. In Odisha, we have complete value chain of operation, from bauxite mining to smelting to downstream production. And our Hirakud FRP plant is making feedstock for various applications and supplying to customers across India. But none of the feedstock for value-added product manufacturing are consumed in Odisha, and this presents a tremendous opportunity that can be exploited in Odisha. From Hirakud FRP, we are producing the foil stock like PP cap, 5 series specialty alloy, foil stock, 1 series specialty alloy, and we are also supplying to defense sector. I will talk about few of the application and their end uses in brief. So if I talk about foil stock, basically foil stock serve as a raw material to make foils which find application in house foils, container, flexible, all the pharmaceutical packaging. And as you know that medical tourism in India and cloud kitchen markets are growing in India. And we are expecting high growth in this segment. We are supplying our feedstock to ancillaries located in Gujarat, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, Telangana, and Delhi. And we are the preferred supplier of ultra-light gauge and semi-rigid containers. We have also built the capability to handle various customers and handhold various customers and stabilize their plants. If I talk about the closer stock is basically the raw material for aluminum caps, which serve as an airtight sealant on various containers for various applications such as pharmaceutical, liquor bottle, and many other applications. These are the applications you can see in the pictures. We are supplying to ancillaries present in Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, and Daman. And in India, I am proud to say that 30% of the cap, we are supplying the feedstock from Hindalco Hirakud. We are the preferred choice of the material of long caps and vial seal applications. The third important product is Circle. Circle, which are alloyed circular sheet, which serve as a raw material for manufacturing pressure cooker, cookware, and other applications like milk can, antenna, aluminum furniture, lampshade, and other applications. There is a lot of scope in Circle in the market. We are the preferred supplier of fan blade, and all the premium branded manufacturers like Havells, Crompton, Bajaj, Orient, Polycab, they are taking fan blade stock from us. The ancillaries are in Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Delhi, Maharashtra, and Goa. We are the proud producer of and the supplier of beverage cans in India. And we are the only solo supplier of can stock. We are supplying to can pack and ball, located in Aurangabad, Delhi, and Chennai. If I will talk about the high-strength alloyed aluminum sheet, which is used for very niche application like enclosures, mobile cover, laptop cover, luggage, and many more application of hard alloys. We have built the capability and to produce the hard alloy, and the hard alloy volume has increased by 60% in 1 year. And we are expecting exponential growth in this market also. Now I will talk about the aluminum freight rack. So to increase the per capita aluminum consumption in India, we are doing the innovation. We have introduced first aluminum freight rack in India. Switching to aluminum significantly shrink carbon footprint for Indian Railway, and a single rake save 14,500 ton of CO2 over its lifetime. And the beauty of aluminum, you all know, it is 100% recyclable. We have also introduced aluminum bulker, trailer, and aluminum buses. So now, we are the premium supplier of feedstock for the value-added product all over India. But none of our feedstock for value-added product manufacturing are consumed in Odisha. So this presents a tremendous opportunity that can be exploited. And I can say that aluminum downstream ancillaries have great advantage if they set up their plant in Odisha. The Odisha government has industry-friendly policy which help you set up your manufacturing unit with ease. I will take my example, Hindalco example. Recently, we have applied for environmental clearance for our new FRP project. All the clearances were acquired smoothly, and I'm thankful to Government of Odisha, Industry Secretary, for their help and support in land acquisition and single window clearances. All our approvals were received on time, and execution of FRP project is on schedule. We are willing to supply at least 100 KT feedstock to Odisha ancillaries by 2030. And this is our vision for Odisha, to complete the value chain from mine to market. So my suggestion, my request to all the ancillaries that please invest in Odisha, because this is a land of peace and prosperity. Come and join the Jagannath. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kailash Pandey, for that very insightful and at the same time extremely brief presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now invite Mr. Chanakya Chaudhary, Vice President Corporate Services from Tata Steel, and now may I request him to share his thoughts with us.
Good afternoon. Thanks a lot. Sorry, I had to get the schedule changed because I have a flight to catch. I think since yesterday morning, we've heard a lot about the opportunities that are being created and have been created in Odisha. Tata Steel has been a player in Odisha in mining and then in steel in a big way for the last more than 100 years now. We are bigger in mining than we are in steel in Odisha, but our plans of doubling the capacity from something like 8 to 9 million tons to 20 million tons in the next or within this decade are already on. I think the theme is very, very apt from a perspective of what it creates as an opportunity within Odisha. Though it talks more of downstream and ancillaries, but I think while I was thinking through about what are the opportunities which are coming in for Odisha and for the steel sector, because what we heard since yesterday is that 35 million tons of steel production going up to close to 100 million in Odisha itself, steel production, which creates a lot of opportunity for capital equipment manufacturing, which I think we have been asking as an industry and we've been talking about it. This is also an opportunity for many of us, including the steel industry and the ancillary units, to tie up with the foreign companies, whether it is in Japan or in Germany or any other country, and ask them to set up shops here, because all these steel manufacturing units will need a capital equipment. And I think that will be the largest support that the steel industry can get and should be moving in that direction. Needless to say that the downstream industries, which can actually be set up next to or very close to the steel manufacturing plants, is obviously there. Our own example of Tata Steel, when it got set up in Jamshedpur, many of the I would say the downstream came next to the plant over a period of time, whether it's the tin plate, whether it's the tube division. We also had some equipment suppliers, like for our conveyors, which was Tata Robin Fraser at one point in time. We set up our own growth shop as well. So I think those facilities will come in. The second part on the downstream was more on the specialty steels, which yesterday also we heard that there's going to be a lot of opportunity in Odisha for setting up specialty steels, and for which we will need very niche players to join us within the Odisha ecosystem. I think what we also see and what is being told to us is that from an infrastructure perspective, which is the most important for any kind of projects and manufacturing sector to set up, whether it is the ports, whether it is the highways, we saw the presentations yesterday and I don't want to repeat that, are obviously in place. And along with the highways, they're also about industrial parks which are being planned, whether it's close to the ports or whether it is all around the western and the northern corridors of Odisha. The conveying systems are changing. The conveying systems are surely becoming more and more environment friendly. They are not anymore going to be only rail or road dependent. So we heard about slurry pipelines, we heard about inland waterways. I think one opportunity which lies here is maybe companies need to set up slurry pipeline systems where steel companies can actually offload that work once they get the right of way. And then some companies can come and say, okay, they will set up the slurry pipelines. Not only set up, they can even operate the slurry pipelines. So this could even be a PPP kind of a model where the land belongs to the government, they give the right of way, the users are in the steel industry, and the companies which set up the slurry pipelines along with operation comes as a third. So I think this is a good model which can evolve. We've also seen some dedicated parks, like in Angul you have the aluminum park. There is a downstream park which is being planned, or it's already on its way in Kalinganagar. I think these are very strong hubs of steel making, which will surely help us to take the next level of efficiencies coming within the ecosystem. Otherwise, the way the carbon emission and the climate change journey is being talked about, the lesser you travel with either raw material or with finished goods will be very, very important, and it will also help the steel industry and the full ecosystem to reduce its carbon footprint. I'm aware there are many other players and many other colleagues who are going to speak about it, but I just wanted to mention these 2-3 points, and I'm going to end by saying that Odisha surely gives us the opportunity. It has already planned as a very, very strong steel hub along with the mining hub, and that gives us the opportunity to set up the downstream and even the capital equipment manufacturing within the state. And I would only request all of you here and through you to your influence groups to come and share the future. Let's create or co-create a joint future in Odisha. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Chaudhary, for sharing your thoughts with us. And moving on, ladies and gentlemen, to our next speaker, Mr. Bimlendra Jha, who's MD JSPL. And may I request him, inviting him to kindly share his thoughts with us.
Thank you, and welcome to all the dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. Thank you for this opportunity, and I'm really pleased to be here and very inspired to be here since the presentation that I saw by Mr. Sharma yesterday. I think Odisha is truly poised for a breakthrough that can really put it into a developed state within the developing nation of India. And it has all the logistical advantages to be so. The first and the foremost is that it is the mineral-rich state. But just by being mineral-rich state, there are two next neighboring states which are also equally mineral-rich. That is not the full competitive advantage. The next competitive advantage comes from its access to the ports, and 4 very large ports, being in Orissa, connects it to the world. With this, we know that India wants to be a 300 million ton steel player. And many people often ask me, where will this steel get consumed? And I have a hypothesis that I want to share with you. And that will probably answer the question also, in a way, for the new opportunities, for the MSME sector, for the new investors in the state of Orissa. Let's look forward 10, 20, 30 years from now. The whole world has for long, since Industrial Revolution, been conspiring from industry and consumers. They have been conspiring with each other. It has been a win-win format. The world has already learned that win-lose doesn't work. So this win-win format has been working in the world from the Industrial Revolution time. Cheap products, cheap goods, lot of employment has been generated in the world. And consumers have been the beneficiaries of it. But just like win-win win-lose does not work and win-win is a necessary condition, unfortunately, win-win is a collusive concept. It is a concept that works when there are two people collude with each other at the cost of third party. And often that third party is not part of the equation. That third party who is not part of the equation, unfortunately, happens to be us as society. And in this win-win-lose combination, the society has lost in the form of global warming since the beginning of Industrial Revolution. And therefore, the world is waking up to a reality that unless we do something about it, there is no future for humankind. If we are into that state, then there is no solution but to aggressively move in a direction where carbon emission is not only reduced, it is eliminated from industries. Now, what are the materials that the world has been using the most? Number 1 is cement, and number 2 is steel. In order to produce both these products, and of course aluminum and other materials are there, but they're nowhere close to where cement and steel is being used by the world. Even if we include aluminum, all 3 materials are carbon emitters. And they are carbon emitters for a fundamental reason. As far as steel is concerned, ever since Iron Age, there has been one primary reason for emitting carbon dioxide, and which is you have to take away oxygen from iron oxide in order to leave iron behind. For making cement, you have to release carbon dioxide from CaCO3 so that that carbon goes into the atmosphere, but CO is left. Now, fortunately, there is something else that is possible for steel, and which is Fe2O3 need not be reduced to Fe by using carbon. It can be reduced to Fe by using hydrogen, provided we do not emit additional carbon in producing that hydrogen. And therefore, the world is talking about green hydrogen. And that green hydrogen is possible from green sources of energy by electrolysis of water. Those green sources of energy are abundantly available in this state in the form of sunlight. So the very first place where we need to peg ourselves is, where is this green hydrogen going to come from? But that is not where my story is ending. Look at yourself 20 years, 30 years from now, where the world is so conscious of carbon that it does not want to use any material that contains a carbon footprint. There is a technical solution that exists for steel, because assume that in 20 years' time, in 10 years' time, there will be enough green hydrogen that will be available. Is hydrogen-based direct reduction of iron ore happening? Even today in Angul, for example, JSPL uses syngas made from coal, where 52 to 56% is hydrogen as a content. That means more than 50% of the iron that moves inside that shaft is actually getting reduced by hydrogen. And if you can do it for 50%, you can do it for 100%. That's not a problem. But at least that solution exists. Does that solution exist for cement? If CaCO3 has to be converted into CaO, there is no choice but to release CO2. And there is further problem. Look forward, if there are, today the carbon footprint of cement is reduced by using lesser percentage of clinker and more fly ash and slag. Where is fly ash coming from? It is coming from thermal power plants using coal. In tomorrow's world, if there is no coal being used for producing electricity, where is fly ash? If tomorrow's world, there is no blast furnace using coke, and there is hydrogen-based reduction, where is slag? And if both slag and fly ash are absent, what happens to the carbon footprint of cement? It only goes up. And therefore, you have to choose a material which is alternative to cement. A carbon-conscious society will choose an alternative to cement, and which is the only material that directly substitutes cement in terms of strength, both compressive and tensile. And it is steel. In fact, cement has to perforce use steel in order to compensate for its lack of tensile strength. Now, compressive strength is also available with steel, so steel becomes a material of choice for the future. Now, if that is true, and if there is abundance of iron ore in the state, and if there is a possibility of producing green hydrogen in the state, then it opens up doors to the new possibilities for any new investment in this state. We already know that Odisha will probably produce in a decade what India produces today in terms of the total quantum of steel. More than 120 million tons will certainly be produced within next 1 decade in Odisha. Can we, in the next 1 decade, have the capacity to really produce this kind of steel? What kind of ancillarization will it need? First of all, today when we are putting up a steel plant, what is the first thing that we lack? Is the human resources. So how many human resource companies can come to Odisha to just give us the manpower with the right skill in order to set up these steel plants? Not for one company, but for all the companies that are intending to get into that one. How many educational institutions can be opened for that? How many technical training institutions can be opened for that? Look forward, what tools and techniques do these people need? Safety gloves, safety glasses, helmets. Is there an ancillarization needed for all that? Just to make these people work safely inside a steel plant, to create those steel plants. As these things are required, so is the upstream, during the making of steel, and downstream. There are so many ancillary units that are required. Of course, there is slurry pipelines and conveyor belts and all the environmental friendly ways of transporting materials that should be practiced in this state. And Chanakya has already said that maybe this need not be done by the steel companies. This is not their core competence. Maybe this should be done by somebody who specializes only in putting up slurry pipelines. Maybe the pump manufacturers, the valve manufacturers, the people who produce the galvanic pots in order to make sure that these slurry pipelines do not corrode. All that ancillarization is needed over here. What else is needed here? In order to produce these steel plants, you need scaffoldings, you need cranes, you need earth-moving equipment. All that can be produced here. When the steel plant is operating, at that time, it is not merely a metallurgical plant. A steel plant is as much a logistics plant. A steel plant is as much a chemical unit. A steel plant also, because of the large number of people that it supports directly and indirectly, primary, secondary, and tertiary employment, actually creates a new sociological and anthropological system that requires its own growth. The growth of the cities that happen around it, the real estate development that happens around it, the sports complexes that have to be developed. And then, finally, when the steel is made, there are so many things that can be done. Today, we use doors made of wood. They're not fireproof, but you can make them look like wood, but that can be made of steel. There is no need to use any wood in any construction activity. But you want aesthetics? Technology is today available. Somebody can produce just the sublimation paper for it. Somebody can produce the furnaces for it. Somebody can produce the rolling equipment for it. Because many of these steel materials will be rolled and used into these applications. Given all this, I think there are simply infinite possibilities, infinite opportunities, where when this state produces 120 million tons of steel that India produces today, the opportunity for ancillarization is 100 times more than that. And that, my dear friends, is the opportunity for Odisha. And that requires political stability, that requires vision, that requires government support, that requires an envisioning of infrastructure that will create that future. But this kind of a conclave really brings together those forces that will make it happen. All the people sitting over here who have any idea of being an entrepreneur, where the government is so willing to come forward, create corridors, give land, it is absolutely the right time. And if this opportunity is missed, we'll only curse ourselves for missing this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Jha, for that presentation on behalf of your company. Ladies and gentlemen, we will move on with our industry speakers, and I would like to now invite next Mr. Anil Chaudhary, who is the Group CEO of Metals and Mining from SR Capital. May I now request you to please come and share your thoughts with us.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving me this opportunity. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, we are missing the Honorable Minister and also the Principal Secretary Industries in this conclave, in this today's session. So, ladies and gentlemen, the topic assigned to me is very, I would say, sensitive, very interesting. And also, when we look at the industry, whether within India or outside India, everybody has been talking of that. And the topic is that how to decarbonize the metal industry in Odisha. But I feel it is not only Odisha, but also the worldwide. And in the entire country, there is a need to decarbonize. But the challenge is how to do it. As you all know, the metal industry is one of the most polluting industries in the world, and all the more so in our country. Because if you see the CO2 emission, which is there from the metal industry, it is close to, say, 10% in our country, and if we look at worldwide, it is somewhere around 7 to 8%. Likewise, in terms of energy consumption, which is mostly coming from the fossil fuel, The energy consumption in this industry is the highest. It is 12% in our country, and worldwide it is just close to 10%. And we have kept, as you know, very challenging target for us that we will be carbon neutral by 2050 for the world and 2070 for our country. So, which appears to be very, very challenging given the fact that the world is short of natural gas, the world is short of hydrogen, the world is short of power which is coming from the renewable sources. So greening becomes really a challenge for this country and for the entire world. And what we feel that when we talk of decarbonizing the metal industry, we only talk of the manufacturing processes, as Mr. Bhubaneswar Jha was also mentioning just now, that how we can use the hydrogen in the manufacturing processes. But I feel it is the entire value chain which is related with the metal that is required to be decarbonized. When we look at the value chain, it consists of our mining, that how to bring down the emissions at the mining head, then transportation of the raw material from the mine heads to the plants. That also involves a lot of carbon generation, carbon emission is involved there. Then the most important thing is the manufacturing processes which are being used by the various industries related with the metal. And this ancillary and downstreams, which are directly connected with the anchor plant, they are also responsible for creation of CO2 emission. And last but not the least, how to recycle the waste. Now, coming to the first, the mine head. Today, we find that most of the equipment, heavy-duty equipment, which are getting operated in the mines, they are driven by diesel. So diesel is responsible for 40% of the carbon emissions in the mining industry. And also, there is a lot of need for the electricity, which is coming from the non-renewable sources, that is creating another 30% of the pollution, another 30% of the CO2 generation in the industry. So if we have to take care of, we have to switch over from this to either natural gas, and particularly the liquefied natural gas, for which, of course, the industry and the mining interface would be required. We have to see that how we can get into a phase where there is a close collaboration between the industry, which can provide you the LNG storage facility, the industry, mining industry, which can use it, and also how to transport that from the either from the port or from the facility to the mine head. Another thing which I mentioned that is related with the transportation. Today, the most efficient route for transportation of our mine material, particularly the iron ore or coal, is the slurry pipeline. But unfortunately, in our country, despite increasing the production of steel ore capacity to a level of 120 million ton and capacity at 152 million ton, we have not paid enough attention to this aspect. In fact, my company, SR, they have been pioneer in putting up the slurry pipelines in this country. And we were responsible for putting up the first 2 slurry pipelines in the country. And after that, the another BRPL slurry pipeline came. I must say that if we have to survive, if we have to bring down the carbon emission in the time to come, the slurry pipeline have to be encouraged. It is not only from the point of view of environment, but also from the point of view of saving the cost. It becomes very, very important. I must tell you that if we transport material, iron ore, or say coal through slurry pipelines, we are able to save cost to the extent of 80% as compared to road and 50% as compared to the rail. So this is the, I would say, double maja, that you are saving environment and also you are saving lot of money on transportation of the material. And when we talk of manufacturing processes, today the buzzword is that we will be using the hydrogen. And I feel hydrogen is the distant reality. But the ideation or discussion on this must not stop. I know when the hydrogen is available, it is going to be very, very expensive. And also, it may not be available to the extent it is required by the steel industry or for that matter, by the entire metal industry. But the work must continue in this. But the most important thing is that the facilities which we are creating even today, they will not be able to use the clean fuel. Today, if you see the most of the capacity in the steel sector, be it SAIL, JSPL, JSW, Tata Steel, AMNS, they are expanding only by way of blast furnace BF route only, which is not a very conducive route for the use of the cleaner fuel. And the facilities which are coming up today, they will last for another 30 to 40 years, and it is not easy to replace those facilities in the coming time. So even if we feel like in the next 30 years, we will not be able to decarbonize the metal industry, I'm telling it very frankly, don't take it otherwise that we don't want to work towards this. But if you take it from me, because the expansion is taking place only through BF route. Reason is simple, we do not have any other cleaner fuel available today. Natural gas is not available. Hydrogen, of course, as I said, it is a distant reality. And if we look at syngas, that is also not going to happen in the coming time. I understand only last week the Secretary Coal called a meeting and where all the big industrialists of the country were present and they refused to get into the syngas, whereas the national coal policy has kept a target that by 2030 we will be having at least 100 million ton for the purpose of coal gasification, which can be used for various purposes particularly in the metal industry. So if that does not happen, it will be very difficult to decarbonize the metal industry. Now, if we look at the processes, the incentive for certain things have to come from the government. Otherwise, we will not be able to move to a cleaner environment as far as metal industry is concerned. We have to create the new facilities, like I can talk particularly of steel, because 95%, whether in terms of value or in terms of volume, it comes from the steel industry. Unless we go in for the DRI, EF route for steel making, it will not be possible to decarbonize the steel industry. We have to move towards that. And if we use the natural gas for DRI, we can cut down the pollution or environment or CO2 by 60%. But if we use the hydrogen, only can we bring it down completely. But at least a step towards that is required. So we should encourage use of the DRI technology. And whatever DRI technology today it is operating in the country, that is again being run by way of pulverized coal, by way of imported coal. We are importing it and we are using it for the industry. So here we need a lot of improvement. Then, of course, when we talk of decarbonizing, the most important thing is that we have to invest in the research and development facilities. I was going through the website of Ministry of Steel. The allocation which they have given towards R&D for various years is minuscule. By spending few crore, we cannot progress in the direction whereby we can use the cleaner fuel for the purpose of metal industry. So entire this industry has to come together and has to approach the government and tell them that more research and development is required, more support or hand-holding is required from their side. And when we talk of this ancillary and downstream industries, the anchor plant becomes very, very important. Anchor plant has to give them the support because they are not in a position to employ the processes which are environmental friendly. So that support has to come from the anchor plant because the anchor plants, they have all the facilities. They can always encourage them to go in for the cleaner processes. As and when they change their process, they can encourage the ancillary or downstream industries also. And for ancillaries, I find that the very important example is that of the Maruti Suzuki. They created those hubs in, say, 80 sometime, but they are still providing them the same support as they were providing them in 1980. Somehow that is missing in case of other industries. The anchor plants have just left the downstream and ancillary industries on their own, and they are not able to switch over to technologies which gives the clean environment. And as I said that last but not the least, the process or this waste recycling and also the use of the various dust and fumes which are there in the steel industry has to happen at a large scale. It is said that in the metal industry, nothing is waste if we are able to capture it or if we are able to recycle it. We have already worked out a method for using the BF BF slag. We are converting into the granulated slag, and we are able to use it in the cement industry. Likewise, gradually the LD slag is also use of the LD slag is also gaining momentum for the purpose of road building. But it has to be used in a large scale because generation is much, much higher than what we use. So in nutshell, I feel that if we continue to work on this decarbonization, if we continue to invent, if we continue to spend money on R&D efforts, we will definitely see a time when the industry or metal industry is having the decarbonization. But for that, we have to work together, and we have to take these steps with the help of the government, which help us in decarbonizing the metal industry. Till then, we have to keep on working in reducing the emissions, and also the request or the urge to the steel industry is, when they talk about this emission, they should introspect and try to use the technology which is good or which is useful in reducing the carbon emissions in the time to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Anil Chaudhary, for your thoughts. And we're moving on to our next speaker. May I now invite Mr. Chaitanya Desai, who's the Managing Director of Apar Industries, requesting him to kindly share his thoughts with us. Very warm welcome to Mr. Hemant Sharma, Principal Secretary Industries, who's joined us on stage now.
Dignitaries on the dais, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to speak of my experience in Odisha. There are two things I would like to say which have attracted us to Odisha. From our childhood days, I used to come here to do the beautiful darshan of the Jagannath Puri. And the second big attraction to us has been aluminium. The story here for us is that Apar is 12,000 crore rupee company, mainly involved in aluminium conductors and various copper-related products, cables, and different type of specialty oils. And over the last 50 odd years, we have been buying aluminium, which has been actually coming from Odisha, but we were producing in the western part of India, being an entrepreneur from Bombay. So we used to transport all the aluminium all the way from one corner of India to the other, and a lot of the product used to go back to the eastern part of India and other parts. So there was a huge logistics cost which was involved. So our motive of coming here to Odisha was to try to figure out if we can come close to an aluminium smelter so we could actually buy the molten aluminium. And thanks to Hindalco, we could put up a factory in Lapanga. And it has been a wonderful experience thanks to the whole government of Odisha's very proactive stance on ease of doing business. Before coming to Odisha, we were actually in two minds whether we'll be able to manage, because we are not exactly having deep pockets like a lot of our colleagues who are on the dais here. An entrepreneur, definitely with limited resources, whether it would make sense, whether we could manage from a headquarters out of Mumbai. So then I came for myself to try and experience and see how it looks on the ground. And this is what I found. I actually visited first Bhubaneswar, and then I visited Jharsuguda. And there I remember taking a train, because in those days the airport at Jharsuguda had not started. So the train from Jharsuguda back to Bhubaneswar was late in the night. And I can vividly picture how I was seeing young management trainee girls, ladies, who were with laptops pretty much in the middle of the night walking on the station. And that gave me a very positive feeling that if they could feel safe at that hour of the night, and it was such a busy station that everyone was, absolutely busy doing their own thing. Law and order seemed perfect. We saw that all the basic amenities were in place: schools, colleges, hospitals, hotels, banks, cultural, social, religious places. It was all there. So when we announced within our company that we'd like to set up the factories here in Odisha, there was a long list of employees, much to my delight. People who came from the eastern part of India, particularly from Odisha, they were lining up and requesting that, can we be please transferred to this new factory? And I was telling them, just be patient. The plants are coming up, just hang on. We are going to definitely transfer you. Because they had an incentive to be closer to their hometowns, even closer to their aging parents. So these are the things which we saw practically. And of course, subsequently, with the commercialization of the airport in Jharsuguda, it has been a great boon to some of us who can actually travel much easily here. What I'd like to say is, and what I've seen here is that the government of Odisha has been extremely proactive in giving us a lot of support in all the various areas that we needed, especially for putting up a factory in a record time of 5 months. Same plant which we were putting up in places like Silvassa, Maharashtra, Gujarat, were taking us over a year, and here we could finish in 5 years. I also feel very proud that the government allowed us. They were very proactive to use the hot metal, which was a new concept back then. Within the Sterlite or Vedanta group, yes, it was a possibility, but it was considered part of the same organization. But here, when there was a different organization to buy the land, to actually transport the hot metal with the support of Hindalco and the government, facilitating the whole activity. So we are hoping that just like us, many others will come forward, because our incentive is if there is enough critical mass of various entrepreneurs who are ready to invest in Odisha, it is going to help, just like we've seen in the old days, 15, 20 years ago, how it used to be in South Gujarat or Silvassa or Maharashtra, where some of the transport which used to happen from road got converted to trains. And I remember when the nearest ICD to our factory in the western part of India is called ICD Tum. And that used to have only one train plying 15 days to Navasheva, which is the closest important port there. Now there are 15 trains every day. So even a small company which is just transporting, say, one container, is able to co-mingle or just add on his container along with the rest of the rake, as opposed to booking the entire train. So it becomes so much easier for everybody, and also the cost structure reduces, the efficiency improves. So I'm hoping that many others listening to our experience come forward and put up their facility here. And definitely with more number of ships plying from the eastern ports of India, definitely the ocean freight costs will come down. And now with the circumstances for metal downstream products worldwide, with China +1 going on or Germany +1 going on, there is a golden opportunity for people who are in the downstream metal products like us on conductor and cables to actually export. So this is the opportunity. If we kind of group in our resources and make the whole thing more viable for even smaller companies, I think it would have a great benefit, not only for the employment, but also a win-win genuinely with all the companies which are putting up the facilities here. We are also expanding. We have already done a little bit of expansion, and now we are further expanding, and we want to go ahead for putting up a new state-of-the-art facility next to the Vedanta Aluminium Park whenever it comes up. And I'd like to end by saying that we are very confident that the Odisha government is extremely proactive, because being part of the power sector, we ourselves were instrumental in putting up some high temperature, low sag conductors to debottleneck the powers supply to the Bhubaneswar city. Similarly, we know that they are taking up a lot of steps to debottleneck many of the industrial areas. So power is not going to be a problem, and we are very confident of that in this beautiful state. So to conclude, I would like to say that we are extremely delighted by the vision of the Honorable Chief Minister in inviting the various industries through this conclave and to partner with the state government to make this dream come true. We as APAR are completely committed to the Odisha vision, and we are sure to join hands for the development of Odisha and the nation. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I request you to all please put your hands together and welcoming Honorable Minister who has just joined us, Shri Pratap Keshri Dev. Thank you, Mr. Chaitanya Desai, for sharing your perspective with us. And I will now invite our next speaker. We have with us Mr. Ravi Uppal, CMD Syscall. And may I invite him to kindly share his thoughts with us.
Honorable Minister of Industries, Mr. Dev, Mr. Hemant Sharma, Principal Secretary Industries, Government of Odisha, distinguished panelists here on the dais, and all the participants here. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, a very good afternoon. We have all heard, the galaxy of speakers from the industry who basically represent, the mega and large investment in the state in the sector of steel, metals, and the mining. They indeed have made a humongous contribution, to the development of metals industry in Odisha, which has earned its recognition not only here in India, but they have also put the metals industry of Odisha on the global map. I think that they have done enormous contribution, and this is not the end of it. If you listen to take notice of the vision plan done by the government of Odisha, talking about they should, in about 10 years' time, they should reach about $1 trillion GDP, and within that, 25% is going to come from the metals and mining sector. That's a part of grand vision. One has a long way to go there, but that it's not something which is unthinkable, considering that they have already contributed a lot to the mining and metal sector in this country. 25% of the total capacity within the steel sector comes from the state of Odisha. And so they already set a kind of momentum, and it has, and it's going to go, in the years to come. So, that if the government of India has a plan of 300 million tons, by 2030, so Odisha is certainly going to get about, about close to 80 to 100 million tons out of that. So that shows us the whole window of an opportunity. Well, the metal sector has done well, and they will continue to do well in the future. That's absolutely assured. And the huge support which is given by the government of Odisha by way of creating, the necessary conditions of investment, giving them unequivocal support in matter of executing their plans, I think is truly exemplary. I have personally been involved with setting up some projects here in Odisha for about 5 to 6 years, and I can vouch for it from my experience of working on the mega project there, the kind of support that we got. And the government of Odisha, recently took this initiative of, inviting further investments in Odisha from different sectors, not only confined to metals, but also other sectors which have remained relatively low-key in the state of Odisha. And they have gone and done the road shows across the country. I must say I was very overwhelmed when I attended their road show in the city of Delhi. Everything was supported by facts and figures. Everything was, in terms of hard numbers and the time-bound program to achieve those things. I think that was truly inspiring. Now that was about the mega sector, metals and minerals. I represent the other end of the spectrum. I come from MSME industry. That I represent a company called Steel Infra Solutions, Syscall, a company which is just about less than 5 years old. We set up our fabrication units and metal processing centers in the neighboring state of Chhattisgarh, 4 units. And of course, it could be an example for others also to draw inspiration from. In 4 years' time, we have come to a position that we are among the 5 largest fabricators and metal processing centers in the country. We are catering to industry, we are catering to infrastructure segment, and the the potential that we witness. So is truly very inspiring. We have come to a stage where we do about 50,000 tons of the fabricated items, catering to different segments across the country, and our capacity utilization is about 90-95%. And we now have come to a stage that we're looking to make, set up one more unit, not where we were, but in another state which carries some kind of promise, to us in terms of the demand, in terms of the infrastructure support that we have. And I must tell you that we have considered 4 states, other than Chhattisgarh, whether it was Odisha, Gujarat, Maharashtra, and Karnataka. And after a great deal of deliberation and the research that we did, we came to a conclusion that Odisha made the best option for us. And I'm very happy to tell you that my board of directors last month, took a decision to go ahead with the investment here in Chhattisgarh. We represent, we were set up as a small company, but we now have graduated to a level in terms of turnover and the people and the size that we have become a medium-sized company. Therefore, the unit that we're going to set up here in Odisha is going to be further addition, but it's going to be the largest unit. It's more than any other unit, individual unit that we set up in the past. And there are many things. Why is it? Is it because we simply like the state for any, reasons which cannot be explained? No, it's based on hard facts. We evaluated all the criteria. We realized that for us, the demand, the domestic market, our ability to cater to the export market, all these things can be best served if we are there in Chhattisgarh. And we realized that one of the main, raw material that we need, that is available in abundance in Odisha. And therefore, whether it is demand or it's in terms of supply of material, we found that the needs are best met by making investment in the state of Odisha. We also took cognizance of the fact that the infrastructure, the hard infrastructure and the social infrastructure, both of them are also coming up very fast in the state. The way the government has set up about 115 industrial estates, 5 theme parks, is testimony to the fact that the government of Odisha means very serious about what they intend to do. So we are very keen, and we are going to go on a fast track to make our new investment, and hopefully in about 12 to 15 months from now, we will have a unit which will be functional. All other things where we need support, they are available here in abundance. I was very personally touched to see the kind of support that we got from the State Department, Industry Department, in matter of finding the land and all of the inputs that we needed to get our unit going. Now, this is about, the MSME, why they could seriously consider Odisha as an option. But, the government of Odisha, while they have done a tremendous job in terms of bringing large investments, mega investments into the metals large units, one also has to understand that the downstream, units and the ancillaries are equally important. Because those big investments, they do generate a lot of wealth. But I think there is also, we have to mind the fact that we have to create employment. If you look at the capital intensity and the employment intensity of the MSME units, it's lot more than the projects which are very large. Well, you need both of them. You can't do one without the other. So, as far as the MSME is concerned, which is based on metals, I think we still have some miles to go. There are a lot of industries which can be easily set up. And I think the state is doing a great job in trying to convey support for bringing investment into the MSME sector within the metals. Actually, if you look at the mega units and the secondary and the downstream units, both of them basically support each other. They can create a kind of very virtuous circle in which, they can act as the feeder units to the large units, and they get their material and they can add value to it. The amount of value that you add, that comes from an MSME. What is being done by mega sector, that of course is undisputedly the best, but it has to be supplemented by the MSME sectors. But there's a whole list of industries whose presence in Odisha at the moment is in a low key. The names, we have identified the names of various industries which can be set up here, and I'm sure that it will also encourage entrepreneurship. And people will be self-employed. Because there was a time when everybody wanted to have government job. But if you can you enable people to become entrepreneurs in their own right, it will reduce the dependence and expectation of the government. And I think that is the key, the whole issue, that we have to pay attention to the growth of the MSME sector, and create necessary conditions and create enablers for the MSME to come on their own. I think industry on the whole, they do not need indulgence of government on every issue of day-to-day management. I think if they can manage on their own. I think the role they see from government is enablement and creating a general environment in which they can get the grievances redressed, simplify the procedure systems, avoid the interference in their day-to-day working, and the rest of it they can look after themselves. So, ladies and gentlemen, I must really compliment the Honorable Minister as well as the Principal Secretary for having taken a very bold initiative to solicit investments in the presence of the MSME sector. And every company, even if you take those which are mega companies today, they all started in a small way. They were micro. From micro they became small. From small they became medium, and they became large. It is true of all these sectors. So I think therefore it's very important that we encourage the growth of the MSME sector, and over a period of time they will serve the larger interests of the state, both in the short term as well in the long run. So we are very happy to find our new home in the state of Odisha, and I'm sure that's the start of our engagement with the state, and we are going to have a long journey here, and I'm sure that Odisha plant will become the largest of our units, which will not only serve the needs of Odisha, but also the state, neighboring state, and the countrywide presence will be sort of encouraged by the unit here in Odisha. So I once again thank you, sir, for the support you have given, and we are very inspired by that, and I'm sure that we will go long miles in our engagement with Odisha. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ravi Uppal, for those words. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to now conduct the groundbreaking ceremony of Daniel Lee Chorus India Private Limited Group. And to do the honors, I request Mr. Subrat Mishra, MD of the group, to kindly request Honorable Minister to inaugurate the groundbreaking ceremony for the manufacturing plant of graphite and carbon block. Daniel Lee Chorus is one of the largest OEM for iron and steel industry, and the company is putting a state-of-the-art machining facility for carbon and graphite products in the name of Daniel Lee Chorus Refractory Solutions Private Limited, and is committed to Make In Odisha and promises to bring many more such investments to Odisha. Thank you, Honorable Minister. I'd like to now invite Mr. T.K. Chand, President of Vedant Group for Odisha and Chhattisgarh, and request him to kindly address us.
MIO greetings to all MIO delegates. At the outset, on behalf of all of you, I extend a big congratulations to the government of Odisha for getting more than 7 lakhs crore investment intentment on the first day itself. Let's give them a big hand. We have been hearing Odisha breaking record in one after another area. In aluminium, Odisha is first in bauxite production, first in alumina production, first in aluminium production. Then a point comes, why not Odisha be first in downstream aluminium products production? I can say, yes, Odisha can definitely, in the coming days, will become first in aluminium downstream production because the state has the potential, state is already working on the entire value chain, and the metal has the future potential. In fact, I have always been passionate about the aluminum metal. It's the shining metal. And I had the opportunity to work in 2 big companies of aluminum. My previous assignment was in Nalco and now in Vedant, the largest producer of aluminum in India. I had written in 2015 a book, Aluminum the Strategic Metal, its present applications. Then in 2019, my second book was Aluminum the Future Metal. I think probably the organizers have found that I have written that book. They thought that we should best ask him to tell about that. Sometime, some people ask me, you have also the curiosity to ask, that why aluminum should be called the future metal. We call a metal as future metal if bulk of its applications have still not come into commercial space. It is very interesting that in aluminum metal, out of 3,000 applications, known applications I am telling, which have been established in prototypes, only 10%, 300 applications have been in commercial use. So huge potential lies for the future for coming into commercial production. Not only that, on time dimension, aluminum is compatible to the future. Just tell me, what are the main features of the future time? To me, it appears future time is defined by speed, saving, and sustainability. 3S you can call. Anywhere, if you see, you will find there is speed now. And in future it will be more. Younger generation, they work with speed. Computers have come to give speed. Music's at speed. And when you go for purchasing an automobile, you ask for the speed. It is not only speed, saving also, or economy. Everywhere we first ask, will it bring any kind of saving? Or will it be economic in nature? This is yet another feature of the modern time. And third one is sustainability. Wherever you speak, first question will be asked, is it sustainable? And for your information, aluminum metal is a sustainable metal because use of 1 kg of aluminum in place of 1 kg of heavy metal, it reduces 23 kg of carbon dioxide emission over the life cycle of the vehicle. Not only that, it is also called a green metal because it is the aluminum metal which is likely to achieve zero emission because whatever it emits in its production, it will reduce in its application. Another thing, why the metal becomes future? Because we are on the threshold of fourth industrial revolution, Industry 4.0 we call it. First industrial revolution came, all you know, that when muscle power was substituted with steam power. Second industrial revolution came when steam power was replaced by electric power. And third industrial revolution came when electric power was substituted with IT power. And now we are in the threshold of the fourth industrial revolution, which is front-driven by artificial intelligence, robotics, AR, VR, cloud computing, so many things, and where we find aluminum metal is front-leading. All these things makes this aluminum metal as the future metal, and the applications which are going to come, some of the numbers I can give you. The projected increase of use of aluminum applications will be, in the coming days, will be more than 30 to 40%. Packaging industry, it will be again much more than 40% again. Construction, more than 50%. Not only that, because of huge potential of future applications, every future application is a project for the entrepreneurs and all startups. Because an innovative aluminum metal will be a very good profit-making project because that will be a virgin metal where the market has not been tapped. So therefore, my call to all the entrepreneurs and all the startups to take up projects in applications of aluminum so that they will be the first. That here, I will also request, here our Honorable Minister is present and our respected Secretary, Principal Secretary, Industry, he is also there, that for innovative use of metal, be it steel or aluminum, if some kind of encouragements are there, then Odisha can become fast in applications of aluminum, also in other metals. One of the sure way of promoting future use of aluminum is making hubs, clusters, and parks. In Odisha, there has been a lot of focus have been put on building up metal hubs, metal clusters, and metal parks. I, being in aluminum industry, I will be flagging up the park. Incidentally, I had the opportunity to get associated with setting up aluminum park of Anugul of Nalco, and now I had the opportunity of getting associated with setting up aluminum park at Jharsuguda, which was yesterday launched by our Honorable Chief Minister. This aluminum park of Jharsuguda will be a world-class aluminum park. It will be making Make in India for the world. This park is spread over 253 acres. First phase being 55, and the second phase is 198 acres. And I give thanks, a huge thanks to Mr. Hemant Sharma, Principal Secretary Industries, that due to his efforts, this land was allotted. These features, next you can go. Out of all the things, because you know that park of Anugul Aluminum Park and Jharsuguda Aluminum Park are by and large having the same features. Only the feature which is very significant to Jharsuguda Aluminum Park, 2 or 3 I will flag up. It gives opportunity to units to export because it is located near to the SEZ. Another advantage of this park is that the project proponents or the unit owners, they can shop their product in the cloud in Vedant Metal Bazaar, where a range of products will be there, and this product goes under the banner of the Vedant. Definitely they will get the advantage. So with a host of incentive facilities and offerings, these parks will definitely, I am sure, that you will all be benefited if you put your units here, because it will be a sure way or an all-inclusive path to the business success. I once again, thanks to the organizers and to all of you, that together we are making this grand event a great success. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. T.K. Chand, for that very in-depth presentation and giving us the Vedanta perspective. I'd like to now invite Mr. Ramnath Subramaniam, CEO of TVSILP, and he'll be talking to us about the scope of auto components manufacturing in Odisha. If I may, at this point, very humbly request our speakers to kindly keep their presentations or their thoughts under 5 minutes so that we can hear the rest of our industry speakers as well. Thank you.
Yeah, good evening to all of you. Let me begin with thanking Government of Odisha for giving TVS Industrial Logistic Park an opportunity to present ourselves here. Thank you, Minister. And I would also like to thank uh, the Urban Development Secretary, Mr. Hemant Sharma ji. Sorry, one second. Sorry, a small technical glitch. So, once again, thank you, Minister Saab and the UD Secretary, Hemant Sharma ji, for giving us an opportunity to be here. Being a logistic company in the midst of all the large steel players who are here on the podium, we are completely different from the perspective of being here in the midst of all of you. The most important thing, and as has been spoken about, and has always been discussed in India, especially in the last 6 months or so, is the criticality of logistics in the overall development of the country. So while production happens on one hand, there is definitely a need for a quality, A-grade, complete solution providing company to be there in the midst of the various industrial development that is happening across the country. We are part of the 120-year-old TVS group, and we already have a presence in Orissa. Thanks to Lord Jagannath, we did come in here about a couple of years back, and we do have a logistic park which is doing very well. As we looked on to the next phase of growth for TVS Industrial Logistic Park, we have been talking to the government for the last 1 month or so. Lot of interest from the auto ancillary companies, and as has been spoken by some of the previous speakers here, the talk of wanting to have a lot of aluminum on ancillary development happening here, and the requirement of a lot of these auto component companies to have a complete supply chain solution to be provided brings us here, and we are now thinking of enhancing our presence in Orissa, given the government being extremely friendly, the various government policies that are also enticing this, and obviously a wonderful government department led by Sri Hemant Sharma ji, which is definitely supporting us in taking this journey forward. Now, what are we? I'll be very short in what I talk about. The important point is we are here not as a warehouse company, we are an integrated infrastructure solution provider, which means between TVS Industrial Logistic Park and our group company, TVS Logistics, we provide complete end-to-end solution, be it in India or in overseas. So that's the complete pipeline of support that we are there to extend. I'll quickly touch upon what we have done. Since we have been pioneers in this industry, our promoters started off this business way back in 2005 with the first logistic park coming up in Chakan. And post that, we today have a 7 million portfolio spread across pan-India. Just to touch upon, started in 2005, and the sectors we cover is auto and auto component, consumer goods, e-commerce, rail transportation, logistic, agri and machinery, and electronics. Just to give you a sample of what we do, this is the Alstom plant in Coimbatore, end-to-end solution from TVS Logistics. Between completely built and completely operated upon by TVS Industrial Logistic Park. This is the Alstom factory for global as well as domestic requirement. We work very closely with the new age company Aether in Hosur. The entire production of Aether comes out of TVS Industrial Logistic Park facility in Hosur. That's a 6 lakh square feet, completely being operated now by Aether, which is the Indian electric vehicle company, which as the I think this largest market share at this point of time, or second in the sale that came out last month. We have Amber with us in our facility in Singri Vakam, which is 4 lakh square feet. Now again, why we are putting this up is to talk about complete end-to-end solution for the customer till the point that he just has to get into the facility to start his operations. So we are a complete end-to-end solution provider, and we look forward and a lot of interest from a lot of customers to be part of our growth here in this state of Orissa. And with all these customers, again, this is a very exciting rocket launcher company. Today, a lot of Indian companies are focusing on this. This is a group from IIT Madras, and they are also part of us here in Red Hills with about 1 lakh square feet. We have Bridgestone with us in Waipur, again, 1.5 lakh, where their entire office built up is done by us, and they operate out of our facility here in Waipur. With TVS as the group, we are there with them. With TVS Motors, we have gone on to do the complete end-to-end solution for them in terms of the setup, as well as in terms of supporting them on distribution and other support system through TVS Logistics. So we are here in Orissa. We are extremely grateful to the government for the support extended this far. Along with our clients, have huge plans for this state, and with a lot of potential in terms of employment generation. Although we are not as large as the other speakers who spoke here, logistics becomes a very important constituent for the growth of any country, and an organized warehousing and a logistics solution provider company like TVS Industrial Logistics Parks definitely feels very proud to be associated and to be involved here in Orissa. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Subramaniam, for giving us the perspective from TVS. And now moving on to our next speaker to share the industry perspective with us from JSL. I'd like to invite Mr. Vijay Sharma. He is the CEO of JSL, and may I please request him to kindly share his thoughts with us.
Namaskar, esteemed audience, Honorable Mantri Ji, respected Principal Secretary Shri Hemant Sharma Sahab, industry stalwarts, and representatives from the government. Great opportunity. We are privileged and honored to participate in this program. I represent the stainless steel industry on behalf of the leader in the country, Jindal Stainless. Hence, my focus will be on developing the stainless sector in Odisha, and perhaps this is the first time you have heard stainless in today's program, so my responsibility multifolds. The big theme, metal downstream and ancillaries, very, very appropriate, very, very relevant, especially in the context of uniqueness of Odisha in metal industry. To set the context, though all of us know about it, natural resources, 8.5% GDP, and metal growth is linked with the GDP, manufacturing hub, steel hub, and India's largest stainless steel plant contributing 20% of India's capacity. Jindal Stainless is also in Odisha. And with the support, with the guidance, and with the blessings, we have been motivated to double the capacity to bring this 20% to 35%. I would like to give a big applaud to the government of Odisha. Thank you, sir. The role of metal is known to all of us, but I will be emphasizing a little more on the contribution of stainless steel. Need of downstream ecosystem is well known to us, right from upstream to the mills, to the downstream, to the finished goods. It's very, very complex. But once all these players are closer to each other, The benefits are immense. Competitive FG, employment, social upliftment, MSME development, support in demand generation, and of course, industry and GDP growth. There are certain additional advantages in Odisha. Once again, my fellow panelists, they spoke about it, whether the leadership, the vision, ease of doing, competitive cost, technical reforms, land and infra ecosystem, focus on manufacturing on the sectors. So with all these benefits, it is very, very apparent and natural that there should be ecosystem on the stainless steel. Now, what is stainless steel? What is the role of stainless steel? Sitting on the dais are the big volume, very learned stalwarts. Every metal has got its own space. And with due respect to every metal, if I talk about certain facts, in the last 40 years, the top 5 metals in the world have been growing at an average of 2.5%, and within that, stainless steel is more than double, 5.35. So that is the distinction of the stainless steel. Why stainless steel? And by the way, in India, against this 5.35%, India has been growing at a CAGR of 8 to 9% in the last 10 years. And in Odisha, in the last 4 to 5 years, it has been growing at 11 to 12%. So why stainless steel is growing at such a fast pace? Stainless, all of us know, the corrosion resistant. We must have heard that every year about 4% of the GDP of the economy gets eroded because of corrosion. This innocuous 4% means at the world level, every year, one Germany gets eroded. And at the India level, every year, 1.5 times of the India's largest corporate private sector gets eroded. So that is the role of stainless steel. How does it get connected with the state and nation's visit? What does the country wants? What does the state wants? Economic growth, competitiveness, Atmanirbhar. For that, we need long-term fixes. For that, we need sustainable solution. One of my friends talked about sustainable. The 3 pillars of sustainability: social, people, safety, fire resistant, crash resistance, aesthetics, environment, about the planet, green, maintainability, recyclable, carbon, and of course the economic, life cycle costing, long life. So stainless means sustainable. Among all the big players, stainless has, again, it is small in volume, just about 3% in volume as compared to carbon steel, but in value terms, it is 12 to 15%. It means that it's more complex because customer base similar, geography spread similar, applications very, very versatile. Generally, when we talk about stainless, तो सामने बर्तन दिखाई देने लग जाते हैं. But there has been a big journey in just last 20 years. 20 years back, 80% of stainless steel consumption was in household goods. And we talk about today, 62% is in the applications like automobile, railway transport, architecture, building construction, process industries, capital goods. And then the future is taking a different turn altogether. This has been the organic growth, and there are many emerging applications. We are talking about green, renewable energy. Now the blue economy is the buzzword, and we know that India has a coastal line of 7,500 kilometers, and Odisha also has a big coastline. And then aero, defense, nuclear, infra, healthcare. So these are the additional complexities and importance of stainless steel. Hence, stainless steel needs a little more focus. So what is the current status of stainless steel in the country? Like I said, as compared to the world, 5.35 versus 8 to 9%, and Odisha 11 to 12%. But yes, like most of the metals in the country, per capita in case of stainless steel is also less because the denominator is that population is very, very high. But to me, it gives a scope of opportunities. If the per capita is less, definitely we are going to grow more. Things are doing much, much better in Odisha. People are already getting excited about stainless. Just to give an example, in the last 5 months, 7 stainless steel pipe and tube mills factories have already been installed in Odisha area. We need to have a structured focus. There is role of industry. I will be talking about it. We are really grateful to the government of Odisha for all the support A small request, just a little extra push in the demand area. We know that per capita, GDP also is very low in India. That means there has to be a big scope in the public sector, in the government side. So a request to the government, if in the public procurement, the life cycle costing should become the mandatory in evaluating the right choice of metal, looking into the sustainable vision which we have got. Coming to the industry role and initiatives, Jindal Stainless being the leader, we have the responsibility and accountability to lead and own the ecosystem of stainless steel. Three aspects: awareness, creating awareness about stainless steel, its role, its importance. This year, again, grateful to Odisha, we have signed a MOU with SC, TEVT. 32 polytechnics in Odisha are now teaching stainless steel course. We have done partnership with Bhubaneswar IIT. Lots of efforts in apprentice internship trainings. We are trying to create the awareness. In fact, stainless industry has taken a lead in creating the vision of stainless steel aligned with the Vision 2047. We have created this document. We are aware that by 2047, the demand in India of stainless steel is going to be 20 million tons. That means we need to prepare for that. The complete ecosystem has to be owned by the industry. The second important aspect is the skill development. आप लोग देखते हैं आजकल स्टेनलेस स्टील के गेट, ग्रिल काफ़ी ज़्यादा दिखने लग गए हैं और क्वालिटी भी अच्छी हो गई है. Stainless steel again is leading this skill development initiative along with NSDC and along with the Ispati Irada. And in fact, last 4 months in 4 cities of Odisha, we have trained more than 300 local fabricators, and in all India basis in the last 3 years, more than 15,000 fabricators have been trained. The third most important aspect is the, which is a theme also for today's this event, the downstream hand-holding. What does the downstream want? The traditional things like quality. I don't have to speak about the quality of stainless steel in India, just to give an example. You know, there is a project going on in France. It is called ITER, International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor. It is a replication of the fusion technology of producing energy, which is being emitted by sun. 15 countries participating, 25 billion euros project, one reactor, 3,800 tons. 2 companies in the world have supplied stainless steel. One is European, another is Indian, which is Jindal Stainless. So that is the quality Indian stainless steel is supplying to the customers. And of course, the delivery, transparent policies, consistencies, technical support, it is a package available. Already in Odisha, the customer count has increased to 25% of the total eastern customer count of Jindal Stainless. So that is the focus we are giving to Odisha. Now, in addition, for Odisha, we are grateful, Honorable CM Saab yesterday, and again, Honorable Dev Saab, Sharma Saab, yesterday there was a foundation laying ceremony of India's first dedicated integrated stainless steel downstream park in Jajpur in 271 acres. It is aligned with the vision of the government, and we are very motivated and we are very upbeat that this will give a different push to the Odisha industrial vision and also the stainless vision. About the park, locational advantage, rail, road, air, EC, our own ICD existing, our own railhead existing, industrial ecosystem around that area, social infra, residential health education, exports opportunities, and it is adjacent to Jindal Stainless. What we are offering level plotted area, wide internal roads, power, water support, retail, logistics, convenience, banking, warehousing, and 100 plus downstream and ancillaries can be part of that. Versatile possibilities in applications, these are visible now. Architectural, pipes, tubes, industrial, consumer goods, kitchenware, decoratives, furniture, etc. And with all the usual business support, including the possibilities of co-branding the Jindal name also along with your product. I welcome all the industrialists and the entrepreneurs here to be a part of the stainless steel family, and I welcome you to join the magical world of stainless steel. In the end, we at Jindal Stainless are upbeat on the holistic development of SS ecosystem in Odisha. We are grateful to the government and we are committed. Stainless is the future. Jai Hind, Jai Odisha. Namaskar.
Thank you, Mr. Vijay Sharma, for those words and sharing your thoughts with us. We will now move on to the next speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to now call upon Mr. Nitin Jain, who is the Managing Director of Vesuvius India Limited. And may I now invite him to share his perspectives with us.
Honorable Ministers, Principal Secretary, dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, ladies and gentlemen. Privileged to talk today on the subject of Make in Odisha. Odisha, the steel state of India. Yesterday, listening to the Principal Secretary about the vision of steel capacity in Odisha growing from 33 million tons to 133 million tons, it's not only humbling but also exciting. Just to put things in perspective, it would be more steel production out of Odisha than countries like Japan and America. So it's a big growth, big number. Now, when we talk about most of the steel capacity that is coming to India is coming with the latest generation of manufacturing technology. Talking about refractory industry, Vesuvius being one of the leader on technology side, refractory material is a material that sacrifices itself to produce steel. It's a material which costs less than 2% the cost of making steel. Now, refractory industry plays a self-sacrificing role. If you look at over last decade or even longer, the refractory consumption per ton of steel has continued been going down, which results into better productivity for steel plant, better cost, better quality, and better yield. Talking about the technology side, in terms of next generation technology, if we take some example, for example, mechatronics, it's a combination of mechanical and electronic devices coupled with refractory technology. So if you talk about example of caster where you have molten metal converted into solid steel, it's a activity where you have high human intervention as well as high safety risk in performing those activities. Now, Vesuvius has developed technology which basically combine the expertise of refractory and robotics, and what we call it's no-man casting. So that means you basically remove human intervention on a casting floor and replace that with robotics. What does it do? It does two things. Number one, it improves the safety aspects. You don't have any human exposure to that unsafe environment. Number two, since you don't have human exposure in that environment, it allows you to do things that you cannot dream of doing with human intervention. That means, for example, you can have submerge opening, which not only increase your productivity, but it also help in improving quality of steel. And I have reasons to believe that Odisha would be the first state in India which is likely to have this technology very, very soon. When we talk about fluid mechanics and you combine fluid mechanics with artificial intelligence, you get to a technology called CFD. Not something new, it has been there for generations. Refractory industry and especially Vesuvius has been championing this technology to improve the quality of steel as well as improve the performance of refractory. If you look at steel plants in India, steel plants in India are some of the most efficient plants in terms of refractory consumption. And I'm happy to tell you, last week, one of the steel plants in India set a world record on maximum steel production out of a single ton dish, about 8,000 tons, of course with Vesuvius technology. When we talk about some of these latest generation of technologies, my colleague on the dais from JSPL and JSL, we are closely working with them, and they are selecting some of these next generation of technologies which enables robotics in their caster platform. Talking about creation of technologies, so Vesuvius have set up a global R&D center 5 years ago in India. It's staffed with some of the best brain industry, and we have been able to actually bring some of the Indian brains who have been servicing the industry in Europe and America back to India. And now this R&D center is not only creating solutions for the Indian refractory industry, but it's creating solutions for the world. And I see that a lot of our fellow refractory players are also start to set up R&D center in India. Talking about sustainability, circular economy, you cannot continue to consume material. A lot of refractory companies, including Vesuvius, is now working with steel plants to create a feedback loop where you take the spent refractory, bring it to the refractory plant, use with virgin material and produce the product. That basically reduces consumption of net new material. Recently, we have launched a new packaging solution, what we call endless packaging. Historically, packaging has been made of wood or plastics, which are not sustainable material in terms of consumption. We have developed this packaging with metal, which basically has no life. It can continue to rotate between a steel plant and refractory plant. And I'm very happy to tell you that Odisha, a steel plant not too far from here, has been the champion and pioneering this technology with us. That being said, with the government support in the state of Odisha, I have all the belief that Odisha not only continue to be the steel state of India, but also refractory state of India. And at Vesuvius, I'm very encouraged with the very convincing argument that Mr. Secretary made yesterday, that we would be looking at making investment in Odisha very quickly. With that being said, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Jain, for sharing your perspectives with us. Moving on with our speakers for the industry perspectives, may I now invite Mr. Mahendra Gupta. He is the Chairman and Managing Director of Gupta Power Infrastructure Limited. May I request you to please share your thoughts with us.
Thank you. Namaskar, Jai Jagannath. Honorable Minister, Industries, MSME and Energy, Government of Odisha, Sri Pratap Keshri Devji. All the dignitaries present here, corporate leader, friends, ladies and gentlemen. I am fortunate enough for this opportunity to speak my heart on my Odisha experience. Sincere thanks to the Government of Odisha and the organizer of this third edition of the Make in Odisha Grand Investors Meet, one of its kind in the state. Let me tell you how I started my journey in Odisha. Gupta Power Infrastructure Limited, flagship company of JRG Group, a recognized status holder having a strong benchmark of global presence. Before starting which, it is important to understand the identity of Odisha. Is it the land of spiritual supremacy, land of eminent heritage and culture, land of peace, tranquility and harmony, land of noble religious collaboration land of full of natural resources, or land of export excellence. Friends, in my sense, Odisha is the word with all the above in one. Odisha is a land of hidden treasure whose treasure trove is being unleashed for the whole world. My experience with this holy land, much before the born of Gupta Power Infrastructure Limited, that is from my parental time. Fortunate enough to head the power transmission, conductor and cable manufacturing division, the diversified division of our family business of food processing, founded by my late father, Sri Jagdish Rai Gupta ji, the great philanthropist and visionary businessman. The journey since then and yet continuing is quite interesting, though challenging. Today, Gupta Power Infrastructure Limited, a star export house status holder, having a large product line in its basket, have strong international presence in many countries with strong benchmark of world-class product and optimum customer satisfaction. Since induction of my Rhino brand, the house wire cable and LED, it has become a household name not only in India but in many countries of the world. Gupta Power has technical collaboration with CTC Global USA and Trefinesa Spain for manufacture of specialized conductor with world-class technologies and based on continuous R&D. Our sole motto is our customers' optimum satisfaction and vision is sustainable development backed with quality product of global standard. Friends, no enterpriser can encrypt a success story without the perfect and conducive business ecosystem of the country and state. Friends, Odisha definitely is the best example. Among the other factors of investment ecosystem, a stable, visionary and pro-enterprise government with reliable governance is the foremost thing that we all look for. I would like to thank the state of Odisha and Odisha government providing us the same for last 22 years uninterruptedly and wish the same for years to come. It has set a benchmark in rewriting the success story of Odisha's industrial resolution. The timely and visionary policy reforms and implementations energizes us to jump the extra miles. Role of MSME department in carrying out the policy reforms always has been remarkable, sir. The supportive governance of the government has been repeatedly tested even during the times of extreme need, be it Cyclone Fani or COVID-19 pandemic. Government of Odisha has set an example to the world in time-bound rehabilitation, restoration and zero casualty during Super Cyclone Fani. Friends, COVID-19 pandemic shall be always a nightmare to all of us. The proper parenting of the state and central government has rescued industry sector at a large. A number of commendable suggestions of the state government on liquidity infusion through easy loan, special rebate by the center in power purchase and reform measures, giving adequate facilities to the migrant workers were helpful to the power utility sectors. Odisha, being a pioneer in power sector reforms, welcomed the center's decision to launch a reform-linked distribution scheme for both private as well as state-owned DISCOM so that a state like Odisha is able to avail the benefit of the same. We have 500 kilometers of coastal line with ports like Paradeep, Dhamra and Gopalpur has kept alive the state's 1,000-year-old international maritime trade, including, as we know, Bali Yatra is also celebrated during that period. The Odisha government's proactiveness to harness the best from this in the way of implementation of state export policy, state port policy and rapid export bound infrastructure development is wholeheartedly admirable. Odisha is also one of the biggest education hub of the country. Friends, narrating the experience is a never-ending story, but I have to sum up because of the constraint. I am very much optimistic. There is no delay when Odisha shall boost the boom in the national economy. Friends, I will request all my entrepreneurs to please come to Odisha and I am here since last more than 50 years. In the morning yesterday when we attended the opening ceremony, our Honorable CM Navin Patnaik ji was there, our Minister was also there. And I happened to listen to Vedanta's chairman, Anil Agarwal ji sir, and he said that he personally requested all the young entrepreneurs, MSME, to come and avail the benefit of molten metal, which they are going to set up and give to the industry, sir. So I would definitely request my friends who wants to go for aluminium, definitely there is a great opportunity. Please avail this opportunity. Thank you, friends. My sincere thanks to all of you. Jai Jagannath, Bande Utkal Janni. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gupta, for those warm words and encouraging industry to come forward to invest in Odisha. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the last speaker, last but not least speaker for the industry perspectives with us, CMD NALCO, Shri Sridhar Patra. May I request him to kindly share his thoughts with us.
At the outset, I pray my prayer to Lord of Universe, Lord Jagannath, to shower all His choicest blessings on all my state people, nation, for a healthy life ahead. Honorable Minister, respected Principal Secretary, industry giants, captains on the dais, of the dais, the future investors, media, ladies and gentlemen. It's my proud privilege to address to this August gathering. The subject of the session, downstream and ancillary activities, the scope and opportunity. You have heard the success story from various corporate heads in what way they are benefited by Odisha and what return on investment they are getting from Odisha. The reason why upstream companies are coming forward to set up their plant, which ignites how downstream will come forward. Already the speakers have spoken the facilities, reasons for expansion, future metal, what avenues available. I do not want to repeat those things as a repetitive in nature. Upstream and downstream, it is a complete chain. Upstream, all big industries are ramping up their production, increasing their capacity, because they are getting whatever the regions they have already explained yesterday. In the beginning, the Principal Secretary also displayed the fortunes for setting up an industry in Odisha and the return what is given by your investment, opportunity which is looking ahead. Upstream involves various activities. They have taken the major part of the headache. Operating mines, removing the minerals, converting into the metal, bringing a primary metal. This involves a lot of regulatory requirements, lot of statutory compliance, lot of activities which have been taken care by them. They give you a semi-cooked food like we get in the market, MTR ready to cook. The primary metal is given as a ready to cook. Just you put water, get Maggi in 2 minutes. So put your resources with hassle-free operation, you will get the output and return. This is Odisha. Why the investor will come forward to Odisha? 90% botherations they have shouldered. So you have to make value addition. Value addition of the product and value addition of your own resources. One of the speakers indicated that there are much more applications. We are utilizing 10%. It is the time to invest in Odisha for making R&D activities to increase the applications. And that will also give a higher return, and all corporates should come forward for initiation of these R&D centers, which will give a boost in the forthcoming ages. Logistic and stevedoring end-to-end solution. When upstream is there, downstream will develop. It will give indirect employment, direct employment, and uplift the economy and living standard. There is enough opportunity for logistic and infrastructures. Main reason is cost reduction. The primary metal going outside the state, incurring transportation and logistic cost, comes back as a finished product and it is distributed. If the finished product will be produced in the state, you are getting the cushion margin of the logistic cost which is avoided. Your product will be competitive and you get a better avenue to sow at a competitive rate, and you can compete not only in the country and across the globe. Now, the nation's pathway, Make in India, zero defect, zero effect, capital subsidy, low rate interest, indigenous product, all are the effort to encourage how we will grow and will be self-reliant. Government of Odisha is taking steps in that line to encourage and give all avenues. I define my state, Odisha, like this. It is not the name, it is the reality. If you ask why your father has given a name to you, you will say just horoscope matched I have given. But here it is not horoscope match. It has happened because this is Odisha. O stands for Ocean of Opportunity. If you are ready to face a challenge, opportunity are manifold. D stands for Deposit of Natural Resources. Starting from toothbrush, putting our cloth, using our car, going by aeroplane. From Mother Earth to sky, everywhere metallic products are used. And these natural deposits are rich in our state. Industrial infrastructure, you need road, national highway, coastal line, Biju Express corridor, and east-west corridor, development of the ports. It add value to the infrastructures, so there is no logistic constraint, and having all infrastructures is rarely seen. Skilled manpower, it has been recognized in the nation. Odisha is having skilled manpower. H, hassle-free environment. If you are getting a tension-free environment, that put your resources into a dynamic and a better productive activity. And last, A land of peace and prosperity. The Lord of our place, Lord Jagannath, is opening his hands, welcoming everybody. So the state is welcoming all entrepreneurs to come forward and the return is manifold. And I just explain my life experience in Nalco with reference to the government of Odisha. When I headed the company, I know many top companies, many top executives are against the public sector because it was in the past, it is in the present. I approached the state government in many occasions and I get the liberty, even at 9, 10 o'clock I give a ring, I seek any help and I get NDS, no delay service. This is the experience which increased my confidence. Yes, I can handle this organization. I can run this organization. I can lead this organization. So this is the attitude of the government. This is the attitude of the bureaucratics. This is the attitude of the state machineries. And you will find a thrust person goes to river to drink water. You never find water comes to a thrust person. That happens in Odisha. The industry care meet has been made by the government. They go to run various regions to hear your problem and resolve your issues. So English alphabet A to Z will be limited to explain what opportunities are there. And opportunities always exist. You have to tap. And as a head of a metal producers in aluminum sectors, I say anybody wanted to set up any industry in the Anugula Aluminum Park, we are ready to extend all our support. And you will feel the difference what an international accredited brand associated with. And I appeal all my people, please put your sincerity, effort and resources for your growth. Ultimately it will lead to state growth and nation's growth. And we can reach trillion economy what we are dreaming. You must have a dream. Dream will come true. And the effort should be consistent. With this sort of government mentality, with this sort of resource availability, peaceful land, you will not get anything. Ask any question to a single person. After death, where you will go? He will say heaven. Ask any question to the industrialist in the country, where you want to set up, the ultimate destination is Odisha. So I appeal all of you to join hands and put together for a better growth, and we will prove east or the west, my state is the best. That day is no much delay. It is just at our hand steps. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you, Mr. Patra, for that very enthusiastic and positive address. And ladies and gentlemen, we saw that the one common underlining fact that all industry members spoke today, the stalwarts that we have here today, is that Make in Odisha is the most preferred choice and also the most preferred destination. There is absolutely no doubt in that. And with those words, we are eagerly waiting to hear our Honorable Minister, Shri Pratap Keshri Deb. This is testimony to the fact how committed our government is, because we've seen Minister has been in many sessions and so patiently he is there listening to each and every speaker, and then he gives everybody the encouragement and the time, hearing them very patiently. So big hand to him, and may I now invite him to kindly address us.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you all to Make In Odisha Conclave 2022. On the dais, all the dignitaries representing various industries. In the audience, all those people eager to invest or to hear us out or to know what is Odisha Conclave 22 all about. Let me I've been listening to many speakers. They have given their perspective, their experiences, their advices, and many people were there. Slowly with time, everybody is thinned out. But the basic perception is, my Honorable Chief Minister, Sri Navin Patnaik, has got a vision. And we, as a political entity in the state, we have envisaged the vision that my state was conceived in 1936 based on linguistic criteria, and I'll complete 100 years of existence in 2036. Since all of you have told your experiences, you should know ours also. Why this? When we came to power, we inherited empty coffers. The government was running on deficit payment. We didn't have money to pay our salaries to our government servants, bureaucrats. We are defaulting on the loans. We have something you would have never heard of called starvation deaths, lack of food. And my procurement was about 5,40,000 metric ton of grains. And worse to, जैसे बोलते हैं हिंदी में, जले पे नमक, we had this worst cyclone ever in this century, in 99, the Maha cyclone we call it, and we lost about more than 10,000 lives. My government couldn't react. The then Andhra government had to support us to make us stand on our feet. And after that we came to power, and we being a regional entity, we took it on ourselves that we have to set our house in order. And that is where the journey begins. We started streamlining our finances. We pumped in a lot of money into agriculture and education. And by 2015, we were one of the best fiscally managed states as per the FMB Act of the Finance Ministry Government of India. We started with a meager budget of 18,400 crores. Today my budget is 2,10,000 crores. In 2004, my production was 5,40,000 metric tons of grains. Today is 72 lakh. I've got 32 lakh surplus grain lying in my godowns. I'm surplus in many food items. I've got a very robust, technically sound, young brigade waiting to take on the globe. In the service sector, in the manufacturing sector, any sector you say. And that's not all. We have been successful in doubling the farmers' income, to reduce poverty by 23%. And now comes, 15 years down the line, we have to take the next big leap. So with my stomach full and money in my pocket and education in my head, I want my youth to take the next step. And that is why we started in 2016, the first Make In Odisha Conclave. The next step is industrialization. Manufacturing the next sector which will solve the problem of my youth of the state. That is the vision of my Chief Minister. That is the vision of my party. You feed them, treat them, educate them, then ask them to dream for a future. And gentlemen, the people who are sitting in the dais and the front row. The people of Odisha want to dream through you. You are not just here to make profit. You are not just simply industrialists. You are my partner in the growth of the state. That is how we see you. We want that maybe TVS, maybe Jindal, maybe Tatas, maybe Adanis, maybe Avanis, anybody who wants to come to Odisha, we welcome. We welcome them. Please come, set up. Please invest in Odisha, because it's just not about your company making profit. It's about my state, the future of my youth also growing with your industry. This is what Make In Odisha Conclave is all about. It's not a government policy. It's a perception we have started, and it will continue. It will continue at least till 2036, till we find ourselves on a firm ground, from where we can say that, yes, the future of the state is secure. I've got a 3-layer protection. Got an agro base, got a technically service sound base in the service sector and also in the manufacturing sector. When I complete the 3 sectors, I can rest in peace, be assured that I'll think of the 3rd step. So gentlemen, the 2nd step we are taking, and you are partnering with us, we are indebted to you. In this world, it's a give and take. Yes, I agree. And I'm ready to give. You should also ready to take. And in this give and take, the biggest beneficiary should be the people of Odisha. In all my speeches, I'm being very candid and very clear. We are an economy who's transiting from an agri base to an industrial base. All my policy, if you see, which has been launched, is not only the industrial policy which has been launched in this conclave. Industrial policy, MSME policy, food processing policy, logistic policy, and we have RE policy. 8 policies have been launched. Civil aviation policy. New policies have come in this session so that it covers the Make in Odisha concept. The entire idea, the entire ethos that state has to move, the state has to move in all sectors. Not only one sector, not only in steel or petrochemicals. It has to move in all sectors. It has to be an overall growth. Then only every industry will supplement the other industry. Constantly I was hearing one word being spoken by all the CEOs, sustainability. That is exactly what I mean by my sustainability. How do I sustain this momentum? You are talking about the sustainability of the metal. I am talking about the sustainability of the policy. So that is why you find the bureaucracy, you find the politician, and you find the media outside, and you find the entire fraternity talking in one language. That is our sustainability. And we have sustained for the last 22 years. We are the only government. My leader is the only leader who has been like, in recent democratic elections, we have defied all trends. And we will keep defying these national trends till we achieve our goals. That's the kind of sincerity and that is the kind of strength, mental strength we have, and with that spirit we are moving. And when we talk to you, when we make these policies, when we invite you, we mean it to keep our commitment. That is what my leader says, do what you commit. And that was very categorically told by my principal secretary on the first day itself, on the main day presentation. We have got something called Mo Sarkar, where we monitor things and we try to sort out your problems. Which home doesn't have a problem? Which state doesn't have a problem? There's no free park in this country, in fact in the globe itself. Where any industrialist can go and set up, nobody bothers, there's no such place. There's no such concept. Every road will have pitfalls or potholes. What matters is the person who has put you on this road stands by you or not? Here what I am saying is, yes, when I call you, when I invite you to set up industry, to invest in Odisha, my bureaucracy, my political fraternity, the entire state stands with your problem till we solve your problem. Problems will come. Every family we have problems. Which family doesn't have any problem? But how we solve the problem is where your character is questioned and character is looked at. And that is where my government scores, and I can proudly say my Chief Minister stands tall. Gentlemen, I won't take much time. It has already been very exhaustive for you. That is the basic concept of my sustainability, government of Odisha sustainability of this conclave, Make in Odisha 2022. I once again thank all of you from the core of my heart that you have taken out your time in your busy schedule to be with us, to speak to the audience, and basically spend time in Odisha. Thank you so much. Bande Kolni, Jai Jagannath.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, for your extremely warm address and heartfelt words that you shared with us. Ladies and gentlemen, we now have a short film which is on the Invest in Sundargarh, and this is by RCCI and OSIMA. Can we play the video, please?
Sundargarh. As the name implies, it is one of the most beautiful districts of Odisha, where tradition meets modernity, surrounded by nature, and where its beauty is further enhanced by the four rivers Brahmani, Shank, Koyal, and Ebe passing through here. But how is Sundargarh known to the world? Industrial capital of Odisha. Sundargarh is recognized as an industrial district in the map of Odisha, and it occupies a prominent position in the mineral map of the country. It was the year 1959, Rourkela Steel Plant, the first integrated steel plant in the public sector in India, started its production, and the growth journey of industrialization of Sundargarh district begins from here. The growth of downstream and ancillary industries, which started in 1959, is now a highly evolved ecosystem. We have large industries like Larsen and Toubro, Dalmia Bharat Cement, Dalmia Bharat Refractories, JSW Cement, NTPC Super Thermal, IFGL Refractories, and others. In addition, there are large industries nearby such as Hindalco, JSW Steels, Vedanta, JSPL. The district has significant mineral resources such as coal, iron ore, manganese ore, bauxite, dunite, limestone, dolomite, and quartz. We have a large number of engineering units, manufacturing components to fabrication of large technological structures, equipment manufacturing, high-tech powder manufacturing, etc., which finds market all over the country and abroad. Amongst others, we make engine bogies, components for traction motor for railways, component for tractor industry, general engineering equipments, supporting manufacturers all over the country, solution provider for heat transfer, crushing equipment, foundry fabrication, and others. Being one of the major districts of Odisha, with political stability under the strongest leadership ever, Sundargarh is performing today and is one of the places with the greatest potential for business opportunities. Rourkela, we offer perfect work-life balance. The smart city Rourkela in Sundargarh district, which is also known as Mini India for its metropolitan and diverse culture. The city is called the industrial capital of Odisha, with shopping malls, restaurants, pubs, and other amenities. Rourkela offers a metro lifestyle. When in Rourkela, no traffic jam. Hence, you will have more time for your family and will be able to maintain a perfect work-life balance. The city is also a major education hub, having India's premier technical institute, NIT, 2 medical colleges, STPI, and Biju Patnaik University of Technology. With many elite and prestigious schools, engineering and medical colleges, Rourkela residents have access to the highest level of education, whether undergraduate or technical. And with large number of ITIs, we ensure the steady supply of skilled and educated labor, so that the economy remains competitive. When it comes to sports, is the home to Indian hockey. Not one or two, 9 players from Sundargarh has captained India in hockey at World Cup and Olympics. Having India's biggest international hockey stadium, countless sports complexes, and mini stadiums which train and prepares the future generation. Sundargarh has so many tourist places like Khandadhar Waterfall, Sarabgarh, Mandira Dam, and many more, which attracts great number of visitors every year. Connectivity. Sundargarh is well connected with all big cities of the country by road, by railway, and now by air. Rourkela railway station on Howrah-Bombay route is amongst the top 100 booking stations of Indian Railway. Jharsuguda Airport and Ranchi Airport are just a couple of hours away. The Rourkela Airport is set to open for business from 5th of December. From national to state highway, backed by robust highway infrastructure, there has never been a better time for connectivity through any medium. Upon completion of NH 320D, new economic opportunities will open. It will take less than 3 hours of travel time to Tata Nagar. Cleanest road, greenery, easy connectivity, tourism, IT exposure, sports, education excellence, existing infrastructure, raw materials and robust industrialization. Where do you find all these things in one place? It is Sundargarh. At Make In Odisha Conclave, Rourkela Chamber of Commerce and Industry is inviting you to come to Sundargarh. Invest in people, share life with them and leave a lasting legacy. Make in Odisha, invest in Sundargarh. Rourkela Chamber of Commerce and Industry in association with Odisha Sponge Iron Manufacturers Association.
I'd like to request Shri Hemant Sharma, Principal Secretary Industries, requesting him to kindly address us.
Honorable Minister Industries, MNCB and Energy Shri Pratap Keshri Devji, all the distinguished members of the panel on the session for ancillary and downstream industries and members of the industry associations. How many of you were present yesterday? So almost everybody was present yesterday. And you must have heard all that happened, so I need not speak anything today. Whatever I wanted to speak today, I have already spoken yesterday, and I'm sure that you must have heard it. But there is one big difference between yesterday and today that I must mention. And that big difference is that partnership, the difference of partnership. This session is about partnership. This is the only segment of industry in Odisha which cannot happen between partnership from the large industry and the MSME industry. Only this much. This is the only big difference. And why? Because ancillary by definition means that there must be a mother plant. You are ancillary to a mother plant. Unless there is a mother plant which wants to make you its vendor, you are helpless. You can do nothing. So there must be what is called a mother and child relationship, right? That is important. That is partnership. The second is that local entrepreneurship is important. Without local entrepreneurship, without having local partners, this ancillary and downstream development cannot take place. Therefore, it is very important. And I am very happy to note that today, Rourkela Chamber of Commerce and Industry and Odisha Sponge Iron Manufacturers Association jointly have come together and partnered with us, first in organizing this event and also then coming in large numbers. I can assure you that this effort will not go waste. Our government of Odisha is committed to help local entrepreneurs come up in a big manner. As I mentioned yesterday, when more steel will be produced, more aluminum will be produced, there will be more requirement of services for vendors, etc. And nobody will come from Gujarat or Maharashtra or Tamil Nadu or Rajasthan to set up small plants here. Big plants will always be set up by big people. Small plants will always be set up by the local people. This we must understand. Therefore, you should always aspire
One more thing which we should keep in mind is that quality and price is important. Tata Steel or Vedanta Aluminium or Nalco or SAIL or JSW or JSPL, they are very happy buying your product. They are very happy making you your vendor. But they also have to sell their product in the market. Unless you produce quality product and you give them at a fair price, they cannot buy it from you. Nobody can force them to buy from you just because you are a local. So you must understand that this is all a linked competitive chain. Without quality, without reasonable pricing, you cannot become a good vendor. Please keep this in mind. Lastly, our new industrial policy, IPR 2022, categorizes ancillary and downstream as the thrust sector, which means that whatever maximum incentive the state government can give, you are entitled to. You can get that incentive. Please take advantage of this policy. You have stalwarts here, starting from Mr. Sridhar Patra, who is the CMD Nalco. He always is welcoming new local entrepreneurs. And you would feel free, please feel free to go and meet him in his office. He has set up a vendor development cell. For the first time, Chairman Nalco has set up a vendor development cell directly under the Chairman Nalco. And he gives adequate time. Every week he has fixed 1 hour only for people like you. Go and take advantage, and he can advise you how to become a vendor of Nalco. The Nalco Aluminium Park at Angul, I don't know how many of you have seen. If you go and see it once, you will immediately try and invest there. That is the kind of facilities which have come up. Molten metal is available there at a discounted price to local small-scale enterprises. Same thing is now being done by Vedanta at Jharsuguda. Yesterday, the groundbreaking ceremony, the foundation stone ceremony of the Vedanta Aluminium Park was done at Jharsuguda. And you know Mr. T.K. Chand, he is there. Mr. T.K. Chand is there. And I don't know whether he has told you or not, he has written not one, but 2 books on aluminium downstream industry. He is a storehouse of knowledge. Even though he is working in Vedanta now, but he is a good mentor. He is a very good mentor. He has helped set up many startups. I don't know whether you are aware. Under the Atal Innovation Mission, which he has been spearheading in Odisha for almost 2 years now, he has mentored many startups, many small-scale industries he has mentored. Please feel free to go to him. He will help you in looking at the right product, right technology, right kind of capital where you can get. That is what I mentioned, that in this segment, it is public-private partnership. It is partnership which is important. Don't try to do everything yourself. Take help wherever it is necessary. Similarly, JSL steel, stainless steel. They are now setting up a very large stainless steel downstream park. JSPL at Angul, they are experienced. They have set up a very large such plant at Raigad, and even at Angul, they can help you. Tata Steel is always known to be supportive of its vendors. You would be surprised that today there are 35, not 1 or 2, but 35 Tata Steel vendors from Jamshedpur who have already come to Kalingnagar and are now setting up their ancillary and downstream units. You can also do the same. It will be easier for you to set up a plant in Kalingnagar or in Angul or in Jharsuguda or in Paradeep than somebody who comes from Jamshedpur or from Raipur or from Vishakhapatnam or from Ludhiana. So please take advantage. Today, the policy of Government of Odisha is best in the country. Today, the availability of material in Odisha is the best. It was never there earlier. And the large industry is very, very supportive. Whether it is JSL or JSPL, JSW or ArcelorMittal, Tata Steel or Shyam Steel, whether it is Nalco or Vedanta or Hindalco, all of them are supportive to local industries. So please take advantage of this kind of a supportive environment which has been created, and we will certainly help you set up new businesses, whether it is small, medium or large. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Hemant Sharma, for reiterating the government's commitment and dedication in helping and promoting the metals and ancillary downstream sector here in Odisha. Ladies and gentlemen, with this we come to an end of a very important and pertinent session. Thank you for remaining here with us. May I request you to kindly join me in extending a very heartfelt thanks to Honorable Minister and to each and every speaker who have taken out their time sharing their perspectives, their expertise with us, and they're always available to you whenever you want to speak to them regarding your queries. With this, we conclude the session. See you tomorrow for the other sectorial sessions. Have a great evening. Namaskar and good night.